Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Yes, I know, the road's bumpy here. But, you know, what can you do? Out here where we live, the vast majority of the roads. There's actually only a couple paved roads out here, not very many. Most everything is like this, and honestly, this road that I'm on that's all bumpy and jiggly and noisy and stuff, it's one of the best gravel roads in the county. This one's nice. Most of them are not. Anyways, so we got the weekend coming up. Shabbat Shalom. Hopefully folks can get a good rest day in tomorrow. But it also means that things could kind of escalate, change. The stuff that's going on. I know we've all said this. I know I have said this. But it's like it's just on the edge right now. More and more. I mean, we're getting closer and closer to that edge. So things could potentially escalate. We have to be ready for that. That's the whole reason why you're preppers, why you're homesteaders, why you watch this channel, and probably, you know, a dozen other things. And it's to stay on top, keep your, you know, edge sharpened and honed and ready to go, and you're kind of ready to go at a moment's notice. Now, in your preparations, because I mean, I could go over details. Nothing huge that I've seen today. It's just all more of the same. So let's push aside the news stuff for a moment and look at our preparations. And I want you to start thinking about, and I'm speaking of specific things in your preparations. I know I talk often about your mental preparedness, you know, that grit, that toughness. I talk about your spiritual preparedness, which is paramount above everything. But right now, let's talk about things, okay? And I've mentioned this in a past video, actually fairly recently, but I want to remind you of the little cartoon. You've probably all seen it. And it's this couple in a bunker. You know, they're down in their bunker, and in the background you can see mushroom clouds from nukes going off, and the wife's standing there with a can of vegetables, or whatever it is, and she's like, I can't believe you didn't pack the can opener. You forgot the can opener. We're down here stuck. We got all this canned food and there's no can opener. Now, of course, there are ways to get into a can without a can opener. But the point being is that it's those little things that are really important. And you need to be thinking about it. You know, us, and I want to segment this a little bit by gender. I know that's a horrible thing to do. Actually, anymore, I can't figure out. Are we segregating, or are we not segregating? I don't know. I mean, we went through that in the 60s, and now it's almost like we're back to segregation again. But anyways, we're going to split this up sort of by gender, and maybe by age. Man, woman, and children. Men, typically, especially the rough and tough hardened guys, we need very little to survive, right? A little food occasionally in our belly to keep us from being too grumpy. Once in a while, a dry place to sleep, but we can certainly, especially some of us, can get a decent night's sleep if it's a little damp and wet and drizzly on us. You know, we need very little. And so, unfortunately, too many times when the guys are the ones in charge of the bug out bags and the preps and stuff, we forget about all the other stuff. We're thinking like, oh, bullets, we need lots of bullets, some bandages, some beans and rice, and we're good. But there's more to that. And women, you have your own items. I'm not going to go through and mention them. I mean, you know, that guy that's Kamala's vice president, he wants to stick them in boys' bathrooms, but you know what I'm talking about. Your feminine items. What's your plans for that? And I want to point out, before I go further into this, the typical prepper mindset is that you need these things in case things collapse to the point that they just don't exist. That scenario is not necessary for you to have access. What if digital currency? I mean, just today, Forbes.com was talking about how Bitcoin is the big thing, and digital currency, and US dollar doing not very good, Federal Reserve, all that kind of stuff. It was also in the news that something like 159 nations are now lining up with BRICS against the US dollar. So what happens if it's switched over to central bank digital currencies? And you say, hey, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing central bank digital currencies. I'm just not. And there's still grocery stores, there's still fuel, there's still food. All that stuff still exists, but the only way to get to it is digital currencies, and you've chosen not to do it. Well, then what are you going to do? What if it's not digital currency? What if it's a digital ID? What if it's a pokey in the arm proof of that to get things? I mean, there's a lot of scenarios that might restrict you from access to the things that you need without it being like Mad Max scenario. So do you think about those little things? Do you think about tweezers? You know, you get a splinter, and if it gets infected, it's going to be bad for you. Some of you have had that kind of splinter, and it's bad. You could even lose get gangrene and lose a limb if it's an extreme enough situation. All because you don't have a pair of tweezers. Do you have that? Do you have enough things that you need in the bathroom? You know, what's the old saying? Cleanliness is next to godliness. I can't confirm if that's true or not, but being able to clean a wound is really important. Being able to keep yourself clean on occasion, at least every once in a while, take a shower and, clean your clothes. It's going to make you feel good. Do you have the ways to do that? Do you know how to do that without electricity? Do you know how to, any of that kind of stuff? Have you thought through that? Have you thought through the personal hygiene? What about garbage disposal? When your trash is no longer picking up, have you thought about that? Just think. What about children? We just assume, children, they're just going to have to go along with this. They're along for the ride. But children, for any of you that have children or have had children in the past, especially when they're young, boy, they can wear on your nerves sometimes, especially if they're just not doing good. If they're sick or they're fussy or they're tired or whatever. Well, what are you going to do when, it's bad and you're all locked in your house and there's no electricity maybe, or things are stressful and your kids get fussy? You can't go around yelling at them all the time or whatever, but do you have things for them to do? Activities. You should have activities. I've always advocated having at least a few tubs of things put away, and don't just say, oh, we already have that kind of stuff. We homeschool, or we have arts and crafts and stuff. Have a specific tub or two, tote or whatever, put away, that's just for the doo-doo hitting the fan. A couple of reasons here. That way you know for certain where it is. You have it. It's not this scrambling around in the house trying to pick up all the scattered crayons and coloring books. But here's the other thing. If it's all brand new stuff that your children have never seen and used, it's going to be cool, at least for a while. Some new games, new coloring books, new crafts, new things that are new and different that they're not familiar with. And put it away so that when the doo-doo hits the fan and you have to pull it out, and everyone is at their peak stressful moment, right? And the children now they have something brand new to occupy their time for a while. Yeah, the newness will wear off, but when that newness wears off, things will kind of start to level out a little bit. And so it's good to have that stuff put away. In variety. Clothing, something that a lot of people don't think enough about. Winter clothing, summer clothing, durable clothing that protects you from the elements. Lots and lots of socks, and don't buy them cheap, junky cotton socks. If you want to wear cotton socks now, that's fine, because life is all pleasure and normal and convenient. But when things hit the fan, you don't want to be wearing cheap old cotton socks. You need to have some wool socks. You can get heavyweight wool for the winter and lightweight wool for the summer. And even when it's hot, you're going to want to wear wool socks, because you want to take care of your feet. You don't want to get injuries on your feet and your feet wearing down and breaking down. That's bad. So So you want to take care of them. Extra shoes, extra boots. Make sure you have that kind of stuff. If you wear glasses, you know me, I'm blind as a bat without my glasses. So make sure you have extras on hand. And you don't have to have the fancy ones. You know, you can get online. You can have the good glasses or contacts, and then you can get online and you can buy cheap ones for like 20, 30 bucks. Have those put away. Do you think about this kind of stuff? What about just the little maintenance stuff in your house? Little things to fix, little toolboxes, that kind of stuff. Some of you have lots of tools. Some of you not so much. You need to think about that. What about animals? If you have animals, how are you going to take care of them? How are you going to feed them? Have you thought about that? I mean, it's definitely something you want to think about. You don't want to have to go out there and put down old Spot because, well, you can't feed him and you didn't plan ahead for that. Or old Spot turn on you because he's starving to death. You want to plan ahead for that kind of stuff. You need to be thinking about these little details. It's not just about putting away buckets of beans and rice and pastas and stuff and bullets. It's also the little stuff. You got to be thinking about the little stuff, because that's typically where it gets people. It's the little stuff. You know, when you think about it, you go on a trip, vacation. How many of you have done this? You planned and you had everything planned and all the stuff, your luggage and everything, and then you get there and then you realize it was one little thing that you forgot. One little thing that you forgot. And you just, you know, oh my goodness, it's this one little thing I forgot to put in there, and it's going to make the whole trip miserable. I've heard of people going camping. They decided to go camping. They had planned out this whole trip. They had all their stuff going. And they get there and they realize they forgot the matches. No one brought matches. So they were trying to figure out how to start their fire without matches. And yes, there are many ways to start a fire without matches. The point to this conversation, my friends, is you need to be thinking outside the box. You need to be thinking about the little stuff, and not just focused on the big, you know, I gotta have 10 more AR-15s or I just won't be safe. You know, I need at least another, you know, 50,000 rounds of ammunition, or I'm in a bad shape. Think about this stuff and start working on it quickly, because things are advancing quickly. You need to be preparing yourselves and getting your houses in order. Prepping mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thank you folks for watching. Catch you in the next video.